Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Coach. I am so excited that you are here with me because I have a special treat for you all. It is summertime, officially not yet. However, some of the kids are already out of school. Next week, more of the kids will be joining them. And in a little over a week, it will officially be summer. And when you think of summer, what do you think about? You think about cool treats, swimming at the pool. You think about longer days. Well, on this episode of Conversations with Coach, I'm your host, certified mindset and confidence coach, Christina Calloway, and I help athletes, parents, and coaches reach their goals and improving their performance. And on this episode of Conversations with Coach, I have brought in an expert who is going to help you with your planning for the summer vacation of your dreams. As an athlete, have you ever watched, like, say, the Super Bowl, and when the team wins, there's this one saying that they all say, "Where are you going now?" And they'll pick one team player and they say, "We're going to Disney." Well, I have brought the pixie dusting queen to Conversations with Coach. And yes, inflation is abounding. And you're probably thinking, are we going to have to cut back on our vacations? Like, the kids want to go to Disney. Forget the kids, the adults want to go to Disney. And have you checked those prices yet to get into those theme parks? You have to save for over a year to get inside those theme parks. Well, you're going to thank me after this episode. Go ahead and get ready to press share. Call your friends, tell them they need to tune in, and you're going to want to save it and come back and replay it, because I have brought the person with all the deets today. She is in none other than Jessie Ford. Jessie is a Boston-based registered nurse turned travel agent entrepreneur. She owns her own travel agency, and it is Pixie Dusting Plans. Try to say that 10 times fast. It's a travel LLC, and she can book Disney destinations, including Walt Disney World, Disneyland Paris, and Disney Cruise Line. I'm getting so excited. Aside from Disney destinations, she also can book Universal Studios, Sandals beaches, all-inclusive vacations. You know somebody that's getting ready to get married, you better tell them to tune in. Royal Caribbean and Norwegian cruise lines. Okay, so for all of you that like to cruise, this is your episode, along with most vendors on Expedia. Her goal is to live the one life that she's been given to the fullest, and to spread that vibe to everyone she meets. As a nurse, she's learned the hard way that you only live once. Just in case you thought that this was a dress rehearsal, it's not. Take that trip, live your life, make the memories. I want you to put your hands together and help me to welcome our guest, none other than the owner of Pixie Dusting Plans, Miss Jessie Ford. Hey, Jessie!
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. I was getting so excited reading your bio because I love all things Disney. I've never been to Disney Paris. Need to put that on my bucket list. But to the Disney theme parks here in America, I have been to both of them. I have met some unfortunate people who don't like Disney, even though when I say it's the happiest place on earth, they're like. And then you said it won't be if you don't plan for it right.
Exactly. It's all about the planning. And, there are people who are experts in planning, like myself. So we're always here to help. Like you mentioned in the intro, I am a nurse by profession. I was actually a nurse for 12 years, and I realized it, wasn't bringing me joy. I've learned so much throughout my nursing career. And in that, I've learned that you only have one life. And why am I going to spend my time continuing my career that I'm not happy in. So, about a year and a half ago, I decided to join travel planning under a different agency. I quickly became one of the top sellers of the company and just became something I truly enjoy, helping other guests live out their dreams. And my husband and I made a business decision, and I decided to spread my wings and open up my own agency. So here we are.
That is so wonderful. So when I hear you say that a year and a half ago you were still a nurse,
Mhm.
that puts me back to the pandemic. You were a
Yes,
nurse during the pandemic.
I was. I was actually a nurse in Mass General Boston, working in the ER during the first surge. And we had a lot of help, a lot of reinforcements, but it definitely wears on you. And I was at the point in my life where my kids are only little for a couple years, and they grow so quickly, and life goes by so fast. And I wasn't able to be there with them or make impromptu memories. I didn't want to have to keep asking my boss for time off. I didn't want her to say no. So I wanted something more flexible. And being my own boss, I can turn my emails on or off if I want to. I don't have to ask anybody if I can go somewhere. I can really enjoy the time I have with my family because we only have this one life. So,
I love that mindset that we
yeah.
only have this one life and you're going to live. You made the determination that you're going to live it to the fullest. And I know that you're not a nurse anymore, practicing nurse. You're going to always be a nurse, but I know that you're not a practicing nurse anymore. And I want to thank you for your service during that very critical time. And it was just so important, so needed. I remember one of your most recent posts where your daughter needed to pick a dress to wear to a school function, her most favorite dress, I think it was.
Mhm.
And
Her
she picked
best
out
dress.
her
Yeah.
best, it was her
Her
best
best
dress. That's
dress.
exactly right. And she went to her closet and she came back to you, and it was one of her princess dresses.
Mhm.
And I love your prose. So I'm not going to tell it. I want you to tell it because it was beautiful.
So my daughter, she's in kindergarten. She was having a music show, end of the school year music show. Had been practicing for so long. She was so excited to sing these songs. And she was told by her music teacher that she had to wear her best dress. So she came down dressed in her Cinderella dress. And Mom, I got to wear this. This is my best dress. And in the minute, in the morning rush of getting everybody out the door, I said, Parker, we can talk about it later, but you're not wearing, it's a costume. You're not wearing that. And then actually, it was one of my followers who said to me that to her, that's her best dress. And I was like, you're so right. It is.
It
And
is.
what's the harm? So that girl went there front and center in her Cinderella dress and killed it. She was so good, so loud. And meanwhile, this girl last year, she didn't even partake in the music show because she was so nervous. And just little things like that, that really made a difference to her, that I listened to her and listened to her thoughts, and that to her was her best dress. So I let her wear it.
There you go. The way to go, Parker, killing it in that Cinderella dress. And that lesson, we can take a lesson from Parker and also from you in terms of not allowing other people to put their thoughts and their ideas and their beliefs on us in terms of what makes us feel good and makes us feel our best.
Mm-hmm.
It's what we feel like we are and what makes us feel comfortable so that we can show up and be our best. I love that story, and it made me smile when I saw it, and then when you showed the picture of her in the dress, and I was like, yes, that is her best dress.
It
Well,
was.
tell me this, when it comes, because I'm the mindset coach here, and I'm always encouraging people to shift their minds, open their minds up. In order to create that, knowledge does help that. Tell us something that people misunderstand or just don't even know about travel agents.
So the biggest thing is, how do we get paid? Because our services are free. So free to the clients, the people who want to go traveling, they come to me, I help them plan. Well, if it's free, how do you get paid? So we are paid by the vendors after the client travels. And what that means is you're not paying any more or any less if you work with a travel agent. Every commission is built into the package pricing, whether it's tickets, whether it's just a hotel, whether it's tickets and a hotel. You're paying the same amount whether you book with Disney or Universal or Sandals or Beaches directly than you would if you planned with me.
Mm-hmm.
So you booking with me, you're supporting my small business. And in the end, I get to help you plan your trip.
Mm-hmm. So in terms of, well, if there's a viewer that's watching that's saying, well, I'm looking for savings. I want to have savings. And I know we're going to get into that and then a little bit later. So I don't want you to spill any of that yet. But what convinces the benefit of, yes, helping an entrepreneur, what are the other benefits of selecting a travel agent and not going to the individual hotel, the individual park, all the individual things that me as a client that I would be doing?
So, for instance, this is a great example and great timing. 2023 packages just dropped for Walt Disney World Wednesday, and the call times were upwards of 3 hours to get into Disney. So, if you had to make a reservation over the phone, you're waiting 3+ hours to do so. We as travel agents, we have dedicated lines to call in, and so the client gets to call me or email me and say, hey, can you look into this for me? And then I'll either do what I can on my computer. Sometimes that always doesn't work, for special rates or just whatever the circumstance may be, you may need to call in. So I'm going to be the one doing that for the client, so they don't have to do that. That's part of my job. In addition to that, I will help the client link my Disney Experience app. I've actually created my own tutorial because my biggest tip for guests who are going to Disney destinations is to be able to use the app proficiently, because that is going to help you maximize your time in the parks. So I took it upon myself. There are a ton of YouTube videos out there about my Disney Experience app and whatnot. But I felt, these are my clients. I want to be teaching them what I want them to know. So I went ahead and made my own tutorial. So I send that with them along with an itinerary guide that outlines, my best tips for the parks, great places to eat, things like that. So they get a lot when they go through us versus just, going through Disney and booking their room there.
Absolutely. I'm all about the convenience. I'm all about the savings that come especially to the individual who is putting it all together for me, because I do understand that there are perks for being a travel agent that I necessarily, the client, the consumer, I'm never going to see that. So I do understand that. And I have watched your tutorials and I have watched your own personal experience, and it is a lot of fun. So I encourage all of the viewers, I'm going to provide you in the call to action. You know how I do it. All of her social media handles, you have to follow her. It will get you pumped and ready to go on a vacation. Even if you weren't planning to do it, you're like, I had plans to go somewhere else, but I'm ready to go and switch and do this because you make it look so fun. You've given some of the insights in terms of what you as a travel agent. I know that there are a lot of more details, and so just give us all the deets right now, Jessie.
So initially a client comes to me and they say, hey, we want to book a trip. So the way they do that, I will send them my form to fill out, or they can just give me all the information they need. I would need to know, 1, where you want to go, 2, your dates of travel, 3, your party size. And then I talk with the clients and figure out what matters to them most. So if they have little kids, they're going to want to go somewhere that, is convenient with transportation or comfortable space for living. If you have a little baby who needs a separate room, then you may need a different resort. I know the ins and outs of all the resorts. I've been to them all. I haven't stayed in all of them. We know some are not my favorite, but I know all of them. So I can work with clients to figure out, 1, which is a good option for them, but then also how to meet their budget, because everybody has a different budget. So I'm able to help them figure out where to go, the best place to stay, all within staying within their budget.
That is
Um,
great.
yeah, and then once that happens, we get them booked. Then I help them set up their My Disney Experience account. We go through all the planning steps. I let them know important dates to remember. I have a very easy client profile system where they can make payments at whatever time they want to leading up to the trip. It's only a $200 deposit for Disney
Wow.
destinations, not Disney Cruise Line, though. That is a 20% sailing deposit. However, Disneyland and Disney World, it only takes $200, which is refundable up to a certain point, and you can get your trip booked. And then I handle all the details from then, as much or as little as they want. So if they have no idea where to go, what to do, I can let them know, oh, you should go to Epcot on Monday, Magic Kingdom on Tuesday, and here's why. And then they can say whether or not that works for them or what they would want to do instead. And so I essentially help them plan out their whole trip because I have that experience of going to the park so often. I know all the good tips and tricks, and I've also done it wrong. So I know all of these things because I've done it the wrong way. I've
Right.
gone and tried to plan minute by minute, and it was a disaster. And we went back and we said, we need a redo. So
Yes.
we went and, going over time and again, I found the right way to do things. And what I want from my company is to help other families go and make the most of it. Because for some and most, Disney's a once in a lifetime trip. It's very expensive, it's time consuming. You're there for upwards of a week.
Mhm.
And to go and be so overwhelmed by everything because it is so overwhelming, it's a
Mhm.
lot. And I help break everything down for all my clients and let them know, pick 4 priority rides for each park and focus on those, get those done. And then everything else you do will just be extra and no one leaves disappointed. Uh,
Right.
I'm also big into planning for big groups. So I recently had a group go over to Disneyland. They were a group of 18.
Wow.
And yeah, so I think they were anywhere from, 6 months old to in their 60s.
Oh,
And
wow.
everything just went smoothly. It was awesome.
Oh,
We
that's
had a great time.
great.
Yeah, so I love planning for large groups. I also love planning for toddlers because I've gone many times with my own children. So I
Mhm.
can give you all the tips and tricks you need to have an awesome, successful trip at Disney.
That sounds so exciting. I was just thinking as you were talking, I was thinking about, have you done any planning for, because summertime is real big for family reunions,
Mhm.
and I didn't know maybe if in high school reunions or just class reunions, not just
Mhm.
necessarily high school, but class reunions are really big during the summer. And I didn't know if any groups had ever contacted you to try to do something of that sort.
So my daughter, she actually quit her dance class because she didn't want to do the recital. And this is Parker who got up on stage front and center, just didn't
Mhm.
want to do the dance recital. And I said, you know what? That doesn't bring you joy. You don't have to do it. So I let her quit. Anyway, but usually you can't be a quitter, but truly she didn't enjoy it. So why am I going to make her go and do something she didn't enjoy? Anyway,
Mhm.
her dance class actually reached out to me. They were thinking about setting up a trip for next spring. So we'll be in touch with them. Hopefully they'll book through me. But
Oh,
yeah, so
awesome.
that could be a fun event for all the kiddos.
Yeah, that is really good. You mentioned, well, I mentioned when I was introducing you that you also do other outside of
Mhm,
Disney. There's the Sandals, there's the cruise lines.
mhm,
So now that we are adjusting to COVID, being a part of our everyday being, what have you noticed that has now shifted? Everything, I'm sure, when you were about a year and a half ago, when you were just revving up your
mhm.
business, the protocols were very strict. on land, as well as the cruise line shut down for a good bit, and
Oh,
then
right.
now they're coming back. What can you tell the listening audience and the viewing audience that they should be expecting when they go to these theme parks or when they go on cruises as it relates to COVID?
So Disney specifically does a great job with keeping all their guests and agents informed of up-to-date policies and procedures. They actually have a know before you go landing page on their website, so you can always check there for the latest updates. And recently, I'm sure a lot of us have heard that the US has lifted their COVID testing requirements to come back in. And so now we can go to Aruba. We're actually going in October. We have a guest audience. That's fine.
Oh, sure. Come on in.
No, it's okay. She was just asking permission to have some chocolate.
Oh, gotcha.
Like anything to keep you behind the doors, it's fine.
It's live, so it's okay.
So we're actually going to Aruba in October, and now I know that we won't need any testing to go there or come back, which is, just it's comforting just to think that I'm not going to get sentenced to Aruba, though that isn't the worst thing in the world for 10 days.
Right.
But it's constantly changing, and you know what? It still will, but I'm that person that the client can come to say, hey, what do I need, to go here? Or what documentation do I need to go there? I'm the point of contact. So no one is left in the dark and worried about what they may or may not need to do to travel.
And I know for myself, my sister and I do take sister trips. And I know when we were planning last December to go on our annual sister trip, that was one of the biggest concerns was because it was so ever changing.
Right.
And when we ended up having to cancel because the US had put that the return, you needed a COVID test. And so when we called the resort, they were like, well, first of all, we're not an international country. And I was like, well, try to tell the US that, but they have you under that heading. So we want to make sure that we'll be able to get back. And they said, we can't tell you where a testing site is. So it would have been very good had we had you in that mix so that you would have been able to say, hey, don't worry about that. I've got that covered for you. You mentioned about the fee and that it being those types of trips can, in theory, be a very good idea. You're going there to relax. However, if you don't plan for them, it can be very costly. But you also mentioned too that there are some big savings that are out there for clients. I would like for you to share that with the audience.
Sure. So right now, it's still active. There's a save up to 25% off for Disney Plus subscribers. And this is just specifically for Disney that I'm talking about right now. But I'm able to go in on the website or call in and find specific reservations that are available for clients. They don't offer it for every room or every resort, but I'm able to see specifically which resorts and rooms would qualify. For clients who had already booked with me, I'm also able to modify. So if their specific resort and room type was available for the discount, I can then go and modify putting money back into the client's pocket. Even if they've already paid in full, say it's 2 days before their trip and this promo comes out, I can go in and call Disney and modify and save them, $500, which is very nice. Yeah. So we're always notified first of any discounts that come out. They're limited, so it's helpful if you have someone working for you, because that's my job, is to get you the best deal I can. So I'm always, ready to go, ready to get that deal for you locked in, because they are limited. So, I take the time away from you having to stop your work day to call in to see if you'd qualify. I'm just there tapping away on my computer, clicking away and saving them money.
Oh yeah, that is really good to know. And so as a consumer, I might have missed that because of my everyday me thinking, okay, I've booked, I'm unaware of the fact that these come in, or I'm thinking there's a window of time to respond and I booked it after this special came up. And as a travel agent, to your point, it's your job. It's what you do. It's what you're looking for. You're looking to be that person for your customers to help them to pick up on
Mhm.
any and every savings that can possibly come
Yeah.
their way.
And
So what do
also,
you, go ahead.
sorry. And also, a big thing too is just navigating. So a lot of clients like to do Disney and Universal together. They're so close, 20 minutes away, completely separate theme parks. So
Yep.
Disney is more storytelling, fantasy, and then Universal's more thrill and adventure.
Mhm.
But you're going, clients travel from all over, so they want to make the most of their time. A lot of what I do too is price comparison. So figuring out the best way to make the most out of their trip money wise too. So whether that's staying the full length of stay at Disney and traveling to Universal a couple days, or splitting your stay, staying, 5 days at Disney and then going 4 days to Universal, because you don't need a full week at Universal. You can get Universal done in 3 days as long as you're staying at one of the premier resorts that has unlimited express passes. Anyway, I go over all the options and what would make the most sense for the client. If they have little kids that are 2 and 4, you're not going to take them to Universal. I mean, if you do, they're going to be in the stroller the whole time. So I can talk everybody through that and what would make the most sense and how to maximize their budget for their trip.
So we've spent a lot of time talking about Disney, and there's nothing wrong with that. But to be fair to my audience who may not be Disney fans, let's talk about some of the other things that you have access to that they might be interested in learning more about. For example, the Sandal beaches, that is the all-inclusive resorts, is something that, you
Sorry,
okay? Do you want to get some water?
no, I'm good. It's
You're good.
allergies.
Okay. The Sandal Beach Resort, that's just something that is very, especially right now, and then coming right before we get to hurricane season and that, all of that. So let's spread some knowledge to the people who are just like, okay, she's talking about Disney. I'm not a Disney person. I'm getting ready to click off of this. Wait before you click off.
Yes. So a lot of clients don't know Sandals is, I think it's 18 plus. Beaches, however, is family friendly and it's all inclusive. There's so many destinations. I've actually gone to, I'm losing my voice now, sorry. Um, I've actually gone to St. Lucia and on our honeymoon, and it was an actual dream. It's just beautiful. The white sandy beaches. Sorry, all the talking. Oh, that's better. The white sandy beaches, the tropical weather. It's really anywhere. You could go to Turks and Caicos. They have beaches there, which is really nice. And back to St. Lucia, JetBlue. I don't know where all our audience is listening from, but JetBlue now has nonstop flights from Boston to St. Lucia, which is awesome. So I don't handle flights, and that's important to note, just because with the ever-changing flight statuses and pricing, they fluctuate so much. I can never guarantee the lowest price at time of booking. So I do not do flights, which most travel agencies do not anymore anyway. But I just like to mention that up front.
That's good to know. I didn't realize that a lot of the travel agencies had got out of booking the flight. So I'm very glad that you added that in there.
Yeah, there's just a lot of uncertainty with cancellations and delays. My goodness. All right, I'm going to go get some water. I'll be right back.
Okay, I'm going to let you do that. While Jess is away getting her water, I want to make sure that I do just a quick little recap. If you are joining, just now joining Conversations with Coach, I have as my special guest Jessie Ford. She's a travel owner of her own travel agents services, and it is Pixie Dusting Plans, and she is a specialist. She knows all things Disney, not just here in the US, but also over in Paris. So if you've ever thought about going to Paris and visiting that Disney park, she can help you out there. She also is just now talking with us about other destinations such as Sandal Beach, the all-inclusive resort. She does cruise lines, and she has just given us so much information about savings, why booking a travel agent is in your best interest. And if you missed any of that, don't worry, you're going to get to watch it on the replay, but there's still just a little bit more that she's going to add before we wrap this up that you can still glean from, and you can also share it with your friends. Hey, Jess.
I'm back.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm better, but I'm back.
I'm glad. Okay. So now I was going to get ready to ask you, as it relates to cruising,
Mm-hmm.
for those people who like to do cruising, not my gig, but hey, my mom loves to.
Have you been on one?
And will not go on one.
Well, that's why. It's not your
I'm a
because you haven't
germaphobe,
done it.
Jessie. Okay, you're outing me out on my own show. That's not nice. But here's what I want you to share with the audience as it relates to the cruise. I know that there's windows where the pricing becomes a little bit expensive, and when I've looked, that tends to be closer to hurricane season. Okay, talk to me about that.
I don't know the actual reasoning why, but it could be related to over the summer, a lot of people travel.
Okay.
So, prices are going to be inflated. I think because they're more popular times to go. So they're more popular, they're going to raise their prices because they can get more money. I personally would not recommend a cruise anytime in September or October, but outside of those windows, I think you're fine to go. Obviously, things can happen anytime, any place. But from my experience, I would just shy away from September and October months.
Yeah, I agree with you. My mom just recently came back from a cruise, and they were affected by the tropical storm that is forming now in the Atlantic. So to your point, it can happen at any time, and so just plan accordingly around those types of things that we actually don't have control over. So before we wrap up, what on average, Jessie, would be an amount that you would recommend for families or individuals to budget for a vacation?
So it all depends on what they want. So I just priced out for beaches. It's all inclusive. I am able to book flights. You can come say hi. You want to come say hi? Come say hi.
Hey, Parker.
This is Parker. She's my 6-year-old Cinderella star.
Loved your best dress.
So I priced out a beach. Oh, we have Jade in the back too. So I priced out a beaches trip for the 4 of us, all inclusive, meals, drinks, alcoholic beverages, flights for a week. It was $16,000.
Okay.
That sounds like a lot, but say if you were going on a trip to Disney, you're spending maybe $5,000-ish, upwards to 10, depending on where you stay, what room type. I had a client who just booked a trip to Disney for a week, and they're spending $16,000, and that's just on their room and tickets. So it's all relative. It depends on what they want, where they want to go, how much they want to spend. I can send you to Disney for a week under $2,000. It just depends on what you want to make out of that. So
right.
You tell me budget, and I'll find you a place and tickets.
There you go. I just wanted to give the audience kind of an idea of the differences and what type of budget that they should be thinking about.
So for value resorts at Disney, they're going to be your more basic resorts with not as nice amenities. Everything's really nice and clean. But for instance, at the value resorts, you're not getting a pool with a slide, and you're not getting a hot tub. You're not getting dining. You're getting a food court. So little things like that. Okay, you're gonna have to go. And you could expect to pay around $2,000 to $3,000. And
Okay.
then moving onward to a moderate category where you get more amenities, nicer dining options,
Mhm.
nicer pools, a hot tub, better transportation. You could spend anywhere between 4 and 6.
Right.
And then when we get to our deluxe resorts, you're spending upwards of 5 to 10.
Mhm.
But those are really your actual resorts. They have spas, they have golf courses, multiple restaurants on site, beautiful pools, multiple hot tubs, and most importantly, the convenience of the transportation to and from the Disney parks.
Mhm.
All right, girls, go. Thank you. Okay. So if you want space from your children, you're going to be wanting to stay at one of the deluxe resorts where they offer villas and separate bedrooms. So you can shut the doors and say goodnight, and then you can go out on your balcony, have a glass of wine, and unwind from the day.
Excellent. Well, this has been a lot of fun. You've given us a lot of information. I do a call to action. Everyone that has been watching me for any time now, you know how I do it. She is on Instagram and Facebook at Pixie Dusting Plans. She's made it very easy. You don't have to worry about remembering it, though. It's going to live in the show notes for you. And she has a website, pixiedustingplans.com. Can't get any easier than that. You all make sure that you are following Jessie and that you reach out to her for more information before you go and plan or do any booking of any sort. Reach out to her for her expert advice. Now, I do a final thoughts, Jessie, and I do this with all of my guests, and I'm going to do it with you as well. What is the one mindset shift that you would like to leave with the audience as it relates to travel agents?
Repeat it.
What is the one mindset shift that you would like to leave with the audience as it relates to a travel agent service?
I think be flexible in all of life. Nothing is going to go perfectly. Leave room to be flexible so you can adapt and change because everything's always changing. So
that is great advice, and not just for travel agents, but just in life in general. Be flexible because there's always room for anything to happen.
Yeah.
All life. Jessie, thank you so much for joining me. This has been wonderful. We can go on and forever and ever talking about Disney.
All day.
All day. I love it. Thank you, girls, for coming in and joining too. I really appreciated that as well. That was perfect. We couldn't have planned it better. I'm going to say goodbye to my audience, and I'll be right back with you, okay?
Okay, sounds
All
good.
right. Thank you.
Thank
There you have it, everyone. Everything we always thought we knew about travel agents, and maybe a little bit more in terms of what it is that they can do for us and how they can help us. And just remember what Jessie said. When you're working with your travel agent and you're planning, always leave that room in there to be flexible. After all, you're getting ready to go on vacation. You don't want to be stressed out. You want to be able to relax and enjoy yourself because you've saved for this time. So enjoy it. We have things to happen on a daily basis in our lives, and such is going to be the case on a vacation as well. You know where to find me on all of my social media. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn at Christina Mindset Coach. Thank you so much for your support and for following me. I appreciate it if you would just share those with your family and friends. Also, my website, christinacc.com. I am now blogging. You can go there and find my most recent blog. And you can also share with me, join the newsletter part. I'm going to start doing a newsletter. Send me ideas. Tell me the types of things that you are interested in knowing more about. You might inspire a blog. You never know. But until the next time, I will see you next week here, same time, same place. And remember this, life is only as good as your mindset. See you then.
Thank you for tuning in to Conversations with Coach. Please be sure to follow Coach Christina on all of her social media platforms. And remember, life is only as good as your